Hello everyone, welcome back to Unicorn Dust Designs. If you are new here, my name is Sammy. Welcome. On my channel, we do affordable DIYs. We do wood signs and the price of wood is going down, thank you. And we also have tons of laughter. So you guys, with that said, I am going to show you all of the DIYs that I have done with Dollar Tree signs. I think there is so much to be done with them. I'm always stocking up on them. With that said, let's get right into this compilation video. All right, our first DIY is inspired by Creations by Favi. I saw this DIY Dollar Tree toolbox and knew I had to at least attempt to recreate it. So you guys, we are gonna start off with these signs from Dollar Tree, and I already sanded them down. I'm going to paint all of them front and back in chalk paint. I did 3 coats on the printed side and 2 coats on the brown sides. So you're gonna have 4 signs in total, 2 of each here. And then of course, I'm going to take my mini plaid chip brush, I'm gonna dip that into some antique wax, and I'm going to distress this down just a little bit. You can totally leave it stark white. You can paint it whatever color you want. This is just for inspiration. So I'm gonna do all 4 of them like this, and I do the fronts and I do the backs of them. So once we're done with that, we need to build our base. So I took the larger paint stir sticks and I sized them up against the side of what's gonna be our toolbox. And I went ahead and marked that out. Then I'm gonna grab my table saw. I do have this linked in my Amazon store link down in the description box. And I am just gonna cut all of these, I'm gonna cut all of these sticks the same length. And then I did take a sanding block to the ends of them. Now taking a baby wipe and some antique wax, I'm gonna go ahead and stain those. You could do front, back, you could just do the front, it doesn't matter, but I knew I needed to stain them. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up staining them, let those babies dry, and now we're going to attach them. So I am using some gel super glue and hot glue. Now, I'm using rulers to make sure that all of these are completely straight. Now, when I measured these, they fit the sign perfectly. But you know how when you use hot glue, it adds a little bit in between whatever you're doing. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So it actually widened my base just a little bit. And at first I was so frustrated, but I work around it and I'll show you how. So we're gonna finish attaching all of our paint sticks here. Now taking the side first, make sure your image is inside your box. I'm gonna hot glue that. I put a healthy strand of hot glue on there, held it up. It actually held very, very nicely on its own. Then I attached the second side box here. Voila, so easy. And then we are going to attach the ends the same way, just putting hot glue on the ends. And then as you can see, I used some Jenga blocks, and that was just for added security, extra hold. I put them on the end as well. Now, Favi actually uses a Dollar Tree sign for the base as well. So make sure you check out her video. All right, of course, the wooden dowel I chose to use was too big, so I had to drill holes, so keep that in mind depending on what size dowel you're using. All right, so now these are the jumbo popsicle sticks from Walmart. I am cutting them to size, and then I'm gonna do this for 8. You're gonna need 8 of these. So all I did was measure it up against our side, and this is what is going to help hide that gap on our corners. So I stained all of them, and then I was like, girl, hello, let's just stain the dowel while you're at it. So I put the dowel in the holes, and I'm gonna go ahead and just mark off where I want it cut. I'm gonna use my table saw again to cut that down, and then I'm just going to do the same exact thing, baby wipe, antique wax, and then I was like, you know what, I want some like little end caps basically for my dowel. So I got my sliced wood beads. I got 2 of them. stained them, and then that's going to add just a little bit more detail to our, I don't even know if this would be considered a toolbox. Anyways, so now I'm just grabbing some wooded dowels, and we're just going to put those in the corners. That's just for added security on the corners, just to give it a little bit more support. And I do that for all 4 corners here. All right. So now, taking your popsicle sticks, you're going to put one on the side, and what you're going to do is put it just a little bit over where the gap is, and you're going to see right here how we cover the gap is we're going to get that other popsicle stick, or craft stick, whatever they're called, and we're going to butt it up to the one that's right there, and then you're not going to see any gaps on the side at all. So I'm going to repeat that step for all 4 of them. Look at how clean that looks for the other 3. And let's go ahead. I'm going to jump ahead right now. There we go. All done. Now I'm going to put the dowel in there. I'm going to hot glue those sliced beads on the ends. And y'all, I decided to keep this super simple. Creations by Favi, she put a really cute farmhouse stencil on them, and it looked adorable. But I wanted to be able to transition this anywhere in the house, so I didn't want to put anything on it. And look at how big this is in high end. This ended up being about 20 inches long. You can totally carry it by the handle, and it just looks so high end. And I couldn't have done this without Creations by Favi's inspiration. So definitely check out her link down in the description box. All right, y'all. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I wanted to put this video together because I think if you're a Dollar Tree crafter, there is no way that you don't go into Dollar Tree and pick up the signs like every time they come out. There's so many different shapes and sizes, and there's so many things to do with them. So even if you see some that are like seasonal, obviously you could keep them in mind for that season, but they can be transformed using any kind of decor if you get creative with it. So I just really wanted to take this opportunity and kind of like gather them all for you. And I know some of you like the mega videos. I love watching them. I put them in the background while I'm crafting. I love doing that. So you guys, I hope you're enjoying this one, and I look forward to seeing your comments. And y'all know if you're digging me, if you're digging the channel, if you are digging the DIYs, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And I would love, love, love if you come join me on Facebook. I have my Facebook business link down in the description box. Click on there and you can join me for some live crafting. So I hope you accept the invite and come over there. And with that said, let's go ahead and get back into these signs. Bye. So coming for a spell, you guys, guess what? This is going to be reversible. You know I love reversible. So let's take her apart. Save that for later. Now I'm taking Territorial Beige. This is the synthetic brushes by Apple Barrel. It's $2.47 for a 3-pack at Walmart, and y'all, they're awesome. And they come in 3 different sizes in the pack. Grab you some of those. Then I'm just taking some foam board and drawing the panels back. And can you just watch to see how crooked this goes? Because I was laughing so hard because I thought I got these pretty straight. Oh, your girl, hot. But look at that. How, like, what was I thinking? Was that, oh goodness, now look at it. Yeah, that is not straight, girlfriend. So this is the crackle medium. Yo, I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so I just pour mine on. But keep in mind, this stuff is super thick, so you have to work fast. I would recommend if it's your first time using it, pour it in a bowl and apply it. Now you have to wait until this fully dries, okay, before you can do anything. You have to use acrylic paint with it. Now y'all, this heat gun, a subscriber told me if you apply heat to the crackle medium that it crackles even more, and I was not disappointed. She was correct. I was obsessed. Now I'm applying white acrylic Apple Barrel paint to it. Now the bottle says to always use contrasting colors, so that's why I painted the bottom the beige color and then went on top of it with the white. And you can see why they say to do that, because as it crackles, you see that base color on there. And I'm going to be using this a lot, so y'all better just grab you some, okay? This one was by Folk Art. Use a coupon, go to Michael's, Joann's, they carry it everywhere. And your girl has to clean up the back of the sign because we want it to be reversible. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, love the crackle medium. Look at you guys, how gorgeous that looks. Do you see that? And it's not like it's going to flake off or anything. Like it's on there. And then I apply more heat to see if it crackled a little bit more, and it did. So now I'm measuring this board because I'm going to go over to the computer and I'm going to print out letters. Yes, I did not use vinyl. You're welcome. So I saw this on Heidi Sombel's page. I think it was on a Halloween video last year. And I was like, this is genius. So I'm using like a rounded bottom. I don't know. This was from like Dollar Tree. And I have my letters on top of a foam board. And I'm essentially tracing this out, applying pressure as I do so, and it's going to leave us the imprint of our letters. So, and I'll show you that as I get done with this one. You see the imprint? And then I start tracing the O because I like to work harder, even though I'm not gonna even use the O, okay? So y'all, this didn't work out for me, but I wanted to show you because I think this would be, it's genius. But I think my razor blade is just toe up, okay? Because it was not working for me at all. It kept snagging the foam board, and I just could not get like nice cuts with this at all. So we scrapped that. But I wanted to show you because it is a great idea. So then I went back to my printer, printed these out in like a nice tan color, and then I'm just gonna cut all of those out again. I cut the O out and take my time doing that, even though I'm not going to use it. Oh, your girl's a hot mess, as usual. So let's cut all that out. Let's cut it out. Okay, so I decided to use spray adhesive, you guys. I don't really know what my thought process was behind this, but I did. So you can't really see it, but I am using a ruler on the bottom to keep a straight line with these letters. Now, a couple things. First, the ink on this was smearing. And secondly, it sucked because there was pieces that, like, see how I have to respray, that weren't sticking. And then it kept bubbling up. I just use Mod Podge next time, okay? Just use Mod Podge, you guys. I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. And then... But I wonder with Mod Podge if it would smear the, I don't know. Okay, so let's move on here. So let that dry, okay? Now we're taking this garland. I just hauled this like, I don't know, a week or two ago, and I knew there was a reason I grabbed this green one. So you guys, just so you know, these actually, like, it looks like it comes in one strand, but it actually comes in 3. They're just like already intertwined for you. But you can actually break these apart, which I had no idea about. So I was super excited to see that. And so I'm taking one of the strands and I'm just kind of twining it, looping it together. I don't know. And then I take a second one because I want it just a little thicker so you could really see like the green little beads. And then you guys, this is when I realized that the adhesive turned some of my lettering like green. Like it almost like bleached it. So I sprayed more adhesive on top of it to try and even it out. Good thing this is meant to look old, right? Okay, so with our garland, all I'm doing is hot gluing that down. I just found like a thick part of the garland, glued her down. She's all right, you guys. She's coming out. She's looking good. And then we're attaching, this is just Dollar Tree twine. And then I think I want a bow on it. So that's why I start this. And then I'm like, no, that does not look good whatsoever. So we are just going to turn this around and we are going to tie that bow in the back. And what's nice, you guys, this is reversible. So you can use this sign and then we can turn it around. So this could be fall. This could be every day. This could be anything you want it to. All right. Look at how cute this is. Oh, 28. All right, so taking this metal flower, it had something else on it. I don't remember what it was because I took it apart. but I'm taking Nantucket Blue. We are gonna give this 2 coats of the Nantucket Blue. I decided to do it this way instead of spray painting it because I wanted the matte color on it. Now, speeding up, this had a texture, the petals did, so I wanted to make sure I make them pop by distressing them with my white. So we do that here, easy peasy. Dollar Tree sign, we're gonna take it apart. Then I take my mini plaid brush and I try painting this and I'm like, girl, you are a mess. Get a normal size paintbrush. So I do that. I'm gonna do 1 coat, let it dry. Now taking some ribbon that was from the mystery box, I'm gonna make a border with this on the top and the bottom. So I just hot glue it directly to the back. Easy peasy, Dollar Tree squeezy. And we're gonna do the same thing for the bottom piece as well. Super cute, super simple. All right, so then taking the polka dot ribbon, I am going to be cutting the wire off of the sides because I wanted it thinner than the ribbon that was already laid down. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're just attaching it to the sides and the back. Don't worry, we're gonna cover all of this up here. There we go, finishing the top up. Okay, so then you guys, I cheated. I totally cheated. This is cheating. Or is it just being smart? I don't know. But I'm taking that blue raffia and I'm going to use it to hang our sign. That's, you guys, okay. I think it's smart. That's what I'm going to say, not cheating. And I just double knot it in the back. It is really thin, so that's why I'm tacking it down with a little bit of hot glue so to make sure that it stays. All right, so after that's all done, we are going to get our flower. This right here is actually wire that I took out of the ribbon. And I'm just attaching it to the sides here. And I like that it was silver and super thin, so you couldn't see it at all. Not that it matters because we're gonna cover it up. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so we're gonna put it on both sides. Now I realized at this point that the flower was kind of hollow in the middle. So we needed something back there to be able to attach the flower to the sign. So what does your girl do? She grabs the pineapple little sticky things. Now, make sure you put super glue on these too, because we all know how hot glue and metal get along. They don't. So, attach super glue and hot glue. I just layer these up. I'm going to put 1 more on top here. I'm just going to hot glue that one on since it's just on top of the wood. And now we have something to adhere the flower to the sign. Easy peasy, right? Now, make sure you get it even, because I didn't do that, and you'll see why you want it even. I got the turquoise beads from the bag. I spray painted them blue. I put them on the wire, and then I'm just kind of pulling that wire pretty tight, putting some hot glue. Then I took one of those slices sticker things, and that is what I use to hold the wire down in the back. Now, this is why I say make it even, because there's definitely more beads on the right side than the left side, but you know what? We can't all be perfect, right? Okay, and then I just distressed those down because I did use the spray paint so that they were kind of glossy. Now, you guys, we are covering the backs. Y'all called me out on my last DIY video. You guys know I have to cover the backs, but on that Cricut video, I didn't cover the backs, and I definitely heard it. So thank y'all for keeping me on my toes. Okay, so this is where, you guys, I feel like sometimes when I'm doing these YouTube videos, I'm like, I personally love the simplicity of that sign just as it was, but I'm like, people are going to be bored. People want to see more. People want extras. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do a messy bow then. So let me know after seeing it this way versus with the messy bow, how you preferred it, because I really liked it just as is, but it still looks really cute with the messy bow. So I cut, you guys, 4 pieces out of each of these ribbons. Then I grab this ribbon that one of my subscribers, Teresa, sent me. Thank you so much. And you're just gonna start stacking these on top of each other. I even cut some of the ribbon in half. And this, you could use any color, any kinds of ribbon. Possibilities go on and on with messy bows. Now I'm gonna grab my little mini zip tie here. You could also just tie it off with twine too, that works. And I'm gonna cut that back off And then taking the smaller ribbon, gotta cut those down. Those were way too long. Taking the skinnier of the ribbons, I'm gonna wrap that around twice to cover my zip tie. Tack it off in the back with some hot glue. We're gonna, no girl, you don't need to add no more, okay? Just stop. I'm gonna attach it to the left side of our sign with some hot glue. And here we go. This is how it turned out. Let me know. Did you like it simple or did you like it with the messy bow? I feel like this was really different than what I usually do. I don't know why, but I still like it. Let me know how you guys feel about it. All right, my first DIY is inspired by Country Lily DIY Decor. I saw her create this piece and I thought its simplicity was so beautiful and there were so many different ways that it could be made. So I'm gonna leave her link for this video and her channel down in the description box. All right, I'm starting off with a Dollar Tree sign. This was my first attempt at that wood graining tool I've been using and it was a hot mess. So this is like one of the Valentine's Day signs that have the panel look to it. I'm taking Plaster by Waverly, my chip brush, and we're just gonna do a messy coat on this. I'm not trying to get a super clean finish, so I'm just almost gonna get a distressed rustic look. So now taking these signs from Dollar Tree, we are gonna take these apart. Of course, we're saving those metal tags for another project down the road. So these are different than what she used in her video. I didn't have what she used, which were like these wood box lids. So this was what I had in my stash and I knew it would work out for me. So the paper, I guess you could say, on these doesn't come off that easily. So I decided to keep them on because they're gonna be the bottom of our shelf anyways. And I am, again, coating these all three with plaster, making sure to get like the top rim, but I am not going to paint on the inside. I just think it adds a little bit dimension to it. And depending on what you put in it, you might not even see it. So we're gonna do that with all three of them here. And then we're gonna move on to our next step, maybe. All right, now taking these picture frames, I am taking the label, the metal label thingamajiggers off of them, and I am going to put them on our little boxes or shelves, whatever you want to call them. And I'm just measuring these here. I'm actually going to use these screws from the larger metal label thingamajiggers because those were bronze. The ones that came on the frame were like gold. It was really weird. So I love this tool set. This is from Dollar Tree and they're magnetic, so it's kind of like perfection. We're gonna do that for all three of our shelves here. And after we're done, now I'm not gonna give you the measurements on what I did because I definitely did not space them correctly. She does give you measurements in her video, so make sure to watch it. But I am using my Star Bond medium adhesive and the accelerator with some hot glue to attach my boxes. Now she staples hers down, however her like shelving, what she used was a lot thinner. So I knew I couldn't do that with these, so that's why I decided to double up on the Star Bond adhesive and the hot glue. Yeah, I definitely didn't measure these out appropriately, but either way, it turned out great. And it just shows that you can create other people's DIYs and you don't have to have everything they have. It is the inspiration behind it, and that can spark so much creativity. So then I just took two of the medium-sized clay pots from Dollar Tree. It's 2 for $1. Wrap them with some twine on the top to give them a little bit more zhuzh. And this is how my version turned out. So I was going for a boho farmhouse theme. I like these because you can also use the boxes and fill them with like some pebbles and some succulents, or you can make this super farmhouse and put florals in it. Options are endless. I don't think you guys are ready for this cuteness right here, okay? Let's get started. So I'm gonna take this sign from, it's actually a Halloween sign, but look at the shape on this thing. Like, it is so pretty. I knew I had to use it. So you guys, I am going in with black paint. Now, I've done several calendar videos. I'll link them down in the description box, and a lot of subscribers kept suggesting use black. It'll cover up those numbers and the black squares that might show through the paper. I've tried white. I've tried just doing it on like the brown. It does not work. The black works like a charm. So that is why I'm painting the back of this black. Then getting my calendar piece. This is from the Simply Blessed calendar. I am just going and kind of outlining where I want my page to be. That way when I take it off, I know where to place it back down. So I'm just using my jumbo glue stick. You are more than welcome to use Mod Podge or whatever you fancy, but this is what I like to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and just smooth this out here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around. We're gonna go ahead and get our Arteza craft knife. I'm gonna clean this up. Y'all, this came out way better. This is like my starting point. This is like what I envisioned, and then that's as far. And then it just kind of came together. Okay, anyways. So smoothing this out, then I'm gonna get a sanding block. I'm just gonna kind of try and smooth out like the rough edges here, and that is done with that. So then I'm gonna go ahead and we are going to clean up our workspace with our little ladybug, grab some shipping paper. And you guys know I have to cover up the backs. I do it in like every video that I use these signs. I am just cutting a piece out, hot gluing it on the back, and then we are gonna turn it around, clean it up, and now you have a fresh back. Nobody's gonna know that was a Halloween sign, and I just have to do that. Okay, now taking some boxwood. This is from Walmart. I buy it whenever I see it because it's super hit or miss. And I am just going to play around with these. I am just hot gluing them directly to my sign, trying to cover up all of that black paint. I will do the right side exactly the same way, making sure that we have an even amount on each side. I just really wanted this looking full and covering all of that black paint. So as you can see, I'm just taking little pieces here and there, hot gluing them to fill them up. And then once we are done with that, I actually was envisioning at first the rabbit wood cutout right here, see? And I was like, no, that looks so weird, the rabbit on the rabbit. So then I grab some ribbon. Now this ribbon, you guys, we are gonna cut 3 pieces, 14 inches long. And I got this at Hobby Lobby. And we are going to glue the ends of 2 of these pieces together. And I tried to do this a little slower. I do have a bow video though. And we are also going to cut a 6-inch strip as well. And this is going to become the middle of our bow. So cut that one. You are also going to glue the ends together. So it's almost going to look like a little like tunnel cylinder, if that makes sense. So there you go, easy peasy. Then taking our little dovetail over here. Well, first I'm gonna fold them in half. I always fold them in half. That way I know where my middle point is and there's no guessing or lopsided bows. I'm gonna cut some dovetails, which I don't do such a great job doing that, so I have to recut them anyways. And then we are going to put our bow together. I use zip ties. It is like the easiest when you use zip ties. So we are gonna scrunch these bows together. Scrunchy, scrunch, scrunchy, scrunch. There you go, hold it. Then get your tail, scrunch it up into the bottom, and then that is your middle. And I'm putting that zip tie through the middle. Do not zip tie it tight yet. Fluff your bow out, see if your loops are nice and even, if it's how you like it, if you need to pull it, however you need. Once you know that your bow is exactly how you want it to look, then tighten up your zip tie and cut the back of it off. And you got yourself a beautiful bow. Look at how good that looks, y'all. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so then we're just gonna hot glue that on. And all that we have left to do is attach our twine to the top of our sign so that we can hang her up. And I just poke holes through. I'm going to, put some painter's tape. It doesn't matter what tape at the ends. Push that through our hole. I just double knot it on the back here so that it doesn't come through. And we're gonna do the same for the other side. And I cannot wait. Look at how beautiful this calendar page came out. All I knew was I wanted this calendar page on a sign, and it just ended up coming together so beautifully. I cannot wait to display it somewhere in my home. All right, you guys, we are starting off with one of these Beware signs from the Dollar Tree, some brown shipment paper, because y'all know I like covering up the back of my signs. So I'm just gonna lay that down. We're gonna trace it out like we usually do, and then we will proceed to cut it out and glue it on the back of the signs. I love doing this because I love a finished looking product, and I don't wanna take the time to scrape all of that stuff off. So taking a craft knife, we're gonna go ahead and just clean it up. Then I am taking Chiffon by Rust-Oleum, and we're just giving that a messy brush on here. We don't need it to look perfect. And then here comes the decal. I got this at Dollar Tree quite some time ago. Thought I would have to use Mod Podge on the back, but I didn't. It was super sticky. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and press that down, and then I grab my Mod Podge and just kind of sprinkle that over our decal. And then we're gonna go ahead and rub that in with a brush. Now I just put a light amount of Mod Podge on here because I just wanted to make sure that it didn't pill up or anything as time went by. And then you're gonna go ahead and let that dry. And then we are going to move on to distressing. So I added more chiffon paint just to, I wanted to blend that decal in. So I just got my stencil brush from Dollar Tree and kind of went over it. I even went over the decal itself with like the remaining product on the brush. And then I grab my, what do you call that? Antique Wax by Waverly. And we're gonna go ahead and distress this down. And then I was trying to hide the decal, but it kind of defined it a little bit, but that's okay because it still ended up being perfect. So let's clean up our space with our little ladybug. Now we're gonna go ahead and take twine. I'm gonna wrap that around 4 times. I was trying to cover the holes on here. So if you are gonna do that, just make sure you use hot glue in a few places because as you get towards the edge, it starts kind of falling off there. So I'm gonna wrap 4 times on each side. Then I'm grabbing these flowers. I don't know, these are from like Walmart, Hobby Lobby. I've had them forever. And we are just going to make a little arrangement with some hot glue on the bottom right corner. I debated putting some in the top left, but seriously, it was enough. And you guys, all of these today are gonna be so quick and easy. You are going to love them, I promise. And I kept changing my mind because my favorites kept changing, and this for sure has become my favorite one, and I cannot wait to take down my Valentine's Day decor already and decorate for spring. So yeah, I gotta have a drink. It was the weekend. So look at how beautiful this looks. It is fresh. It is so spring and farmhouse, and it reminds me of sunshine and being outside. I cannot wait for those days here in Kansas. Let me know what you guys think about it down below. All right, I don't think you're ready for this. This is my favorite one, y'all. So we're gonna take 3 signs, big, medium, small, right here. As you can see, we're gonna take all of these apart. So take the twine off, take all of the, eyeballs and bows and all that stuff. So now I am taking some antique wax. I am putting a good amount on there, but I'm not oversaturating it. I would say a light coat. I would say a pretty light coat. Now taking my wood grain tool. Look at how cool this is, y'all. I have this in my Amazon store link in my description box. And you're gonna lay down the wax. I'm gonna do it one more time for you guys. You can also do this with paint. I'll link a video down below where I actually used chalk paint instead of the wax to do this. And you're gonna take the tool and all you do is rock it back and forth. And then I'm kind of tapping the excess wax off and go back and forth. Just rock it. There you go. So I can do the same for the top, but for some reason this one was like sucking up the wax. But we're gonna let those dry. I let them dry overnight, and look at that. Yes, sis. That is what I'm talking about right there. Okay, sorry, I'm moving around in my seat because I'm super excited. But now that that's done, we are going to piece these together. So you guys, I have to cover up the back. Who would want to like lift up a sign or what we're making a shelf and then accidentally see that scary like dismembered bunny. Nobody, my kids would like absolutely freak out. Anyways, I'm hot gluing this on some shipping paper. We're gonna cut that out. Now you have a nice finished back. It's gonna look like we bought this somewhere instead of making it, and that is always the vibe I'm going for. I want to have a finished product. So now I took a black dowel, cut it down to 24 inches, taking my sliced wood beads. I have those in my Amazon cart as well. These are the 15 millimeters. I put them on the ends so that our ribbon doesn't come off. All right, so now I'm taking the faux leather ribbon from Dollar Tree. Right here, you guys, I am trying to find the length that I want for our ribbon. So I wrap it around, and then taking my dowel, I'm just playing around with placement, seeing how far I want it to hang off. Then I go ahead and cut that. Then I'm going to cut an additional one. Now we're going to start piecing this together. So I tried my best to, we don't want this wonky and we don't want it lopsided. So I'm going to start off with some hot glue. I put just a little bit of my leather ribbon on the edge. Now I wrapped the entire thing around because I wanted this to look high end. I wanted it to look finished. So I thought this added more detail. So I wrap it around, and now I attach my second one. And the reason I did this was because I was trying to match up the exact amount of ribbon that I used on the other side. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down here. So again, I'm wrapping this all the way around, hot gluing as I go. And now we're going to attach the straps to the opposite side. So to do that, I just used a scrap piece of ribbon just so I could see how wide to glue it down. That way it was even on each side. You know, I get my madness. I don't know if you guys do, but see, look how cute that is. And we're going to make 3 of these. That's why we did a large, medium, and small. So again, for this one, I don't know why I glued that down first, but we're doing the same thing, except I'm not gluing. I am just trying to find out how long I need my ribbon, and then I will cut. So I'm going to hold that up again, see what kind of spacing I want in between my shelving. Sorry for my little naked boy. And I cut that down, and then we're going to cut 2 more, and we're going to do the same thing, you guys. We're just wrapping it around, gluing it. You're going to do this same step for shelf number 3, or you can just leave it as 2 shelves. That's completely up to you. But I thought this turned out so good, you guys. I cannot wait for you to see the finished product. And I will say, I actually ran out of this ribbon, but I had the dark brown one. I took it outside and spray painted it black, and it was amazing. Look at this. All right, you guys. Woo woo. Oh my gosh, you guys, this makes me so happy. I am so proud of myself for making this. I just think that it looks so high end. It looks so modern farmhouse. It's rustic, and I mean, it's not going to hold the heaviest thing in the world, but I think it's amazing, and I hope you do too. DIY, we're going to start with this heart sign from the Dollar Tree. And at first I thought that these were just taped to the back because I was thinking I was going to use the back side of it. But when I started peeling it, the ribbon is actually glued. So it started totally ripping the sign apart. So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to sand these down and paint them. Then I changed my mind again. Then I decided I'm going to use this scrapbook paper. And y'all, I love this scrapbook paper so much that I paid regular price. Yes, you guys heard me, regular price for it. Okay, there was only 2 left. I just had to do it. I know that's like a sin in the crafting world. I'm so sorry, you guys. But anyways, we're going to trace 3 of the shapes here, and then we're going to go ahead and just cut those out. Then we are going to grab our jumbo jot glue stick, and we are going to make sure we get those sides really good. You can definitely see if you've coated every inch of it because it'll turn like glossy. And it just smooths down on these so well. I definitely prefer this to Mod Podge now. I don't know if I'll ever go back unless, you know, it's a project I absolutely need to. Hello, there's the forehead again. So now I'm taking some antique Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm just stressing this down. The white on the scrapbook paper was a little too bright, and if you saw the last romantic DIY video, I'll link it up above. We're going for a rustic feel, vintage, worn, and this just gave it exactly the look I was going for. So now using this lace that we've been using on our past projects, I'm so glad to finally put this to use. We're going to take the piece that we did not put the scrapbook paper on, and we are going to paint that Plaster by Waverly. And I chose this color because I definitely wanted some contrast through that lace. So now getting really fancy with it, I am taking an old school stapler and just stapling this on. Now, for whatever reason, my staples are blue. Don't know why, but blue did show through the lace a little bit, but not enough to have you notice it. So I just make sure that I'm pulling tight on the lace as I am stapling it down. And you also want to make sure you don't have a ton of bulk on here. So don't put a bunch of fabric on the back of it if you can help it, because that's going to cause this to kind of raise up when you put it on your sign. So we finished that. Now I'm taking this piece of wood, you guys, I'm a mess. Okay, I tried wiping this and then ended up pouring so much of this onto the piece of wood, but it's okay because, you know, we need it anyways, right? So taking the baby wipe and the antique wax, we are just rubbing this into our wood. We are gonna get the front, we are gonna get the sides, and y'all know I like a finished product, so we will do the back. Then we're gonna play with the placement of our heart here. This fit perfectly on here. I'll leave the dimensions for this piece of wood down in my description box. And then taking those bubble stickers that we used in our previous DIY, I am just adding some beautiful details on the corners of our piece of wood. Now, you can just leave your DIY just like this, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And I went back and forth on if I wanted to keep it this way or if I wanted to paint it. I decided to paint it. So taking Cashew by Waverly, I'm going to go ahead and take my chip brush, and then we are just going to do a nice rustic paint job on this. I'm not covering it up. I am making sure though that I get really good over my pearls, because I don't want those to look glossy or shiny, because our paint is matte, the heart is matte. You're picking up what I'm putting down. So we're going to go ahead and finish that. I do make sure to get the sides, but I'm not going to paint the back of this. And I love the way this looks with the heart on it. I'm glad that I decided to paint it. What would you guys have done? Would you have just kept it as wood and the pearls, or painted it? Let me know. All right, so now we're going to play around with the placement, which is pretty darn easy, leaving some room at the top. So now I'm just going to hot glue these down, and I want you to make sure that when we get to the lace part, you are going to put a bunch, like a healthy amount of hot glue on that, because I really wanted it to, I don't want to say be flush with like the rest of it, but like I wanted it to go down as much as it did, because I didn't want it popping up and looking almost 3D on us, you know? So put a healthy coat on there. And then we'll go ahead and finish this up. Yeah, press it down right there. Press it down, press it down. All right. I don't know why I have to turn everything into a really horrible song. All right, so we are done with that. Now, I got these keys on Amazon like over a year ago. I will try finding them in my purchases and linking them down in my Amazon store. Then I am taking, this is a bunch of lace and tulle from my actual wedding veil, and I just cut this into strips. And y'all, I went back and forth, and what I ended up doing here, sorry it was so fast, but literally just wrapped it around my hand twice. That's it. And then I pinched it in the middle, and I am getting a piece of twine and tying a knot in the middle. That was it. You guys, I literally wrapped it around twice and then pinched it in the middle, tied it up. Essentially, it's just going to be a messy bow, because I end up right here cutting the loops in half. So you can just stack these on top of each other and just do a classic messy bow, but this was actually a little easier. So now taking the key, I am just tying that on a piece of the tulle. I wanted it to be the tulle so you couldn't really see that I tied it on there. And then I'm just double knotting this onto our messy bow here, cutting the excess of that tulle off. And I love the key. It says love. It is so cute. And we are going to go ahead and just hot glue that to the top of our sign. And this just came out so beautiful. I love when I start a project and I have, you know, an idea of where I want to go with it, but then it gets finished and I'm like, wow, you made that. Like, you made that. You didn't buy it. You made it all yourself. So you guys, I can't wait to show you the finished product of it. It is definitely my favorite of all the DIYs today. It's just so elegant and classy. Of course, it's romantic with all of that lace detail. I love the little detail of love on the key. Just love this. And this, you guys, can be transitioned into spring by just putting like a tin bunny on the front of this and taking the love key off. I mean, we're gonna start off with this Dollar Tree sign, take the twine out, grabbing our chiffon by Rust-Oleum. I am just doing a nice messy paint job like I usually do. You guys know I like the rustic look here. So I do one coat, we're gonna dry it, and then move on to the tissue paper. So these are both from Dollar Tree. I chose the one we're gonna go with because it wasn't as stark white. Now I am going to basically tear these apart, okay? So I don't want any straight lines on it. I want it really distressed looking. So I'm gonna get some Mod Podge, put that on there, nice and smooth. You only need a light coat. And then I am going to basically pat the tissue paper on. This stuff is super thin, so you do not wanna rub it at all. If you get a little texture, that's even better. We want it to look distressed. So now I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom right side. And you're gonna add as like little or as much as you want of this. So I'm gonna apply that. Then we're gonna go ahead and get our sanding block. You could get that from Dollar Tree or any store really. And you're gonna go ahead and hit the edges of this in downward motions. It comes off so easy. After I'm done doing the edges, I go over the actual tissue paper, and this kind of dulls down the color a little bit, and it makes it feel more like it's a part of the sign versus looking like we stuck a sticker on there. You know what I'm saying? So distress that down as much as you want. Then after I'm done with this, I'm like, it needs more. It needs a little bit more. So I just add like a bigger piece in the middle, a little piece here and there. I always either put too much or too little of Mod Podge. There's no happy medium for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is where, you know, let your imagination go wild. Do as much as you want to do on this. After we're done adding whatever tissue paper that we want, then I'm going to take that sanding block again and go back over it with our sanding block here. So I wanted this to look almost like the entire sign at one time was covered in this tissue paper, and as time has gone by, it has worn down to just this. Now taking the Waverly Antique Wax, I'm just distressing this down, hitting the sides, and then after this, we're gonna measure how big we want our decal. Oh, and then Hank wanted to join us while we were cutting vinyl. So now we're gonna weed our vinyl with our Cricut weeding tool, and weeding is just basically taking out all the extra that you don't want showing. So we just want our words showing, so we're taking everything out but the words, taking our transfer paper, which moves our decal from point A to point B. And now I'm just going to eyeball this here. And y'all, that literally took me less than a minute. I sized it up. I just searched in images what I wanted. You do not have to be a pro, and you get these amazing, beautiful DIY signs. And I mean, was that not easy, or was that not easy? So this is how it came out. I am so happy with it. I love the bold black decal on the sign because it really makes the words pop out. And I love this tissue paper. You are gonna see all this tissue paper throughout this entire video. First Try It Tuesday creation was created by Kim at KTIYS TB Creates. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like whimsical meets farmhouse. I don't know. It was just so stunning. It took my breath away, and I knew I had to attempt it. So you guys, for any of these DIYs, their channels are going to be linked down in the description box along with the video, okay? So I'm going to start with these two signs. They're St. Patrick's Day signs. We're going to pop that clover off, and under is a burlap. I was like, those would look way cuter like that. So we're going to take the strings off right here. Easy peasy. Okay, and then I'm going to take some, I think this one is spackle. We're going to smooth that over our holes, and then we're going to go ahead and set that aside and let those dry while we work on something else. Now, these are the insides of the boxes, and I had these sitting to the side that I used for something else. I was like, this is the perfect DIY to repurpose these. So taking antique wax and a baby wipe, I am going to apply this to the bottom, all the sides, and then the top rim of the box. Not going to do the inside because you are not going to see that. And we are going to repeat this process for all three of the boxes. Now, I'm getting the leather Dollar Tree ribbon, and I was like, okay, the tan is too close to this wood color. The white was like too stark white. So I ended up just going with the black. So for this, I'm going to take some painter's tape, and we're going to use that to guide us so that we know where to put each strip of ribbon so that it is even across the board. So I'm going to take this black leather ribbon, and I'm going to hold it in the front, and then I'm going to apply my bead of hot glue to the ribbon. That way I have more control over it. And then I'm not putting the hot glue in the front. I don't want you to see the little ripple that it kind of the hot glue leaves in the front of our box. So I'm going to repeat this step for all of the other ones. So once again, we do our painter's tape so that they all line up perfectly. We are going to put that hot glue on our ribbon, pull it to the back, skip the front, don't hot glue the front. And then we're going to hot glue the sides, and we are going to repeat, and easy peasy, right? Okay, so after this is done, I try to get my furniture tacks, but they're just way too long. So then I go with the gold thumbtacks, which Kim uses in her video as well. And these push into these boxes so easy, y'all. Like, they were hardly any effort. You do have to eyeball it, but I didn't do too bad, I must say. And you're gonna also do this to all four of your boxes. Now, after this, we are gonna move on to our signs again. So I'm just taking our standing block, and we're gonna go ahead and just press that down, clean it up with our Miss Little Ladybug, wipe it down. And now we're going to connect these two. So I'm going to take the jumbo ginormous size craft sticks from Wally World, and we are going to hot glue those to the seam of our signs. I'm going to use 2 of these big ones, and then I'm going to cut one down to fit in the middle of these 2 pieces as well. Now check out Kim's, because she has like some crazy way of connecting these, but it's like a stronghold connection. It ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. Now we're taking just shipping paper, tracing out our sign, and then we're going to hot glue this to the back so that we have a nice finished project. I have to do this, or it would just drive me absolutely insane knowing that it wasn't covered. So taking Linen White by Rust-Oleum, we're going to go ahead and do a messy brush on this. Didn't want to put you through watching that whole thing. So we're done here. All right, so after we're done with this, you guys know me and my spacing and my measuring, and then I realized, oh gosh, we still have to put the faux shiplap on here. So I'm gonna take the pencil, I'm gonna mark where our boxes are. Now, you guys, I wasn't recording when I did the shiplap, but all I did was take a permanent marker and a ruler. Yeah, yeah, that's me being like, did you really not record that? So now I'm taking this decal from Dollar Tree, and oh my gosh, this decal is absolutely gorgeous. The green and the pink against that black is just everything. And I knew I had to use it for this piece. And let me tell you, this thing sticks so well. You don't have to use Mod Podge. And it shows no lines whatsoever. If you guys remember that bloom decal I used on one of the spring DIYs, how you can see the outline of the decal, well, you do not see anything on this one, and it just blew my mind. Absolutely loved it. So we are gonna just finish sticking those on. I'm just eyeballing the letter placement right here. And then we are going to attach our little boxes. So let's finish that up. Look at how pretty that is. All right, now with our boxes, we're gonna take our Dollar Tree super glue. I'm gonna use that a lot in this video. And then I'm gonna take the hot glue, put it on the side around our super glue, and then put it where we put our lines. Now I am making mine flush with the bottom of the sign. Kim made hers kind of like up a little bit, so like if you were to hang it, but when she displayed it and took a picture, it almost looked like it was sitting on the table, and I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. That way you could prop it in like a bookshelf, up on a counter, I mean, anywhere you want, or you could put command strips on it and hang it up if you choose to. So we're gonna finish putting the last box on there. And then I just decided to include this in here in case you guys wanted to see it. But I just took floral foam, I call it baby eucalyptus. And then I found these flowers on Facebook Marketplace, and they just fit perfectly with this DIY. And this is absolutely my favorite. Do you see how gorgeous this is? Like, if you cannot hear it, I'm smiling very big right now because I'm very proud of this, and I am so happy Kim created this because it inspired me. And I mean, look at how gorgeous this is, y'all. All right, so for this one, we're gonna take 2 of these tag signs from Dollar Tree. I am going, so first I was like, oh, I'm gonna get these little dot stickers. I'm gonna go one by one, got up to 4. And then I was like, no, there's no way this is happening. I'd be here forever. So then I got these, I'm just gonna call them beads, and they're all connected to each other. These are from Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna line this entire tag with these beads. And oh my gosh, the detail that it gives and how easy they are to work with is just crazy. So I'm gonna go up the entire side. I'm gonna go up the opposite side, and then I'm gonna show you, y'all. Look at how easy these were to bend into the scalloped edges right here. Now I do wish that I would have taken a razor blade and kind of like cut through them, only because the like middle part of it kind of bubbled up a little bit, but it was so nice that these moved with the scallops. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so after we are done completing that, I have to change an LOL's top here real quick. We're gonna finish that up, and then now we're gonna go ahead and stick this on. And we're not using it as like an actual decal. So we're using this, and we're gonna paint over it to leave us a really nice high-end print. So taking our chiffon, I'm gonna cover all of that vinyl up. Yes, I'm covering the vinyl up. This is a great way to use vinyl, y'all, especially if you want to do like little wood sign projects or anything and you want to see the wood through it. This is a great way to do it. So taking your brush, make sure you pounce in between all of those little beads so that we can cover some of the paint. They are light pink, so it's not that bad. So we are going to cover this all up. Now the weeding. This is so relaxing for some people, even just watching it. So you're just taking all of that vinyl off, and look at how beautiful it is. And it leaves almost like, it looks like your words are wood. And you're going to continue to do this all the way up the sign. So we're going to move on to this. We're going to finish the entire thing, weed our flower out. Absolutely gorgeous. Now taking that antique wax and our distressing brush, I'm gonna make those beads pop out. I mean, oh my gosh, the detail that these beads add is absolutely phenomenal. And this is gorgeous. And you guys, all we had to do was get our Cricut maker and spend a minute clicking an image and cutting it out. It's absolutely awesome. So now I'm going to apply some Mod Podge here. I'm gonna lay that same tissue paper over here, and then I'm gonna pat it down again. Remember, you're not gonna rub on this. You don't want it to rip or anything like that. And then I'm gonna take this sanding block again, get all the excess tissue paper off, And now we're going to connect them together. So this is gonna be like one of those tag signs. So I'm gonna trace out the back. I'm gonna hot glue, and I did that so I didn't get the hot glue like everywhere. So applying some super glue, hot glue, I'm gonna connect those together. After that, we are going to make some tassels. So I'm taking this cotton twine, I am wrapping it around my finger 10 times, and we are going to make these little mini tassels, okay? So I am just tying around the top of it, gonna double knot that, and then y'all, I got myself a ticket to the struggle bus. It's been a while, but I could not get the string through the top loop of this tassel, and oh my gosh, it made me work, let me tell you. But I do finally get it through, and I'm basically gonna loop. You see the two pieces there? Then I put tape on the end. I feed 3 natural beads through. Now taking that twine, I am going to tie it in a double knot. And next I'm gonna take 3 more beads, put them on there, and then attach another tassel. And y'all, like, let me tell you, when I didn't have a Cricut before I started YouTube. And when I first got my box, I was super intimidated by it. But then you open the box up and there's a box in there for you. And it walks you through your first DIY. Like, it even gives you like the material to do it, the step-by-step instructions. And for those of you, I know you guys have commented that you have not opened your boxes yet. Do it. You will not be disappointed when you can make DIYs that look like this. And look at how stunning that image is. I love the bring me all the peonies. I love it, love it, love it. It just goes so well. And it was so easy to cut that decal and use it. All right, our first and favorite DIY. We're starting with this spring wood truck. Some comparable trucks from Dollar Tree is they had a Halloween one, the fall one, and then there's this one. So we're gonna go ahead and take the strings off, and we are gonna flip this on over and start painting. Now I do wanna say I was totally inspired by my girlfriend Jessica. She makes like the wood kits for tiered trays on her Etsy shop, and she made basically something almost exactly the same. So I asked her if she would mind if I recreated it using Dollar Tree items, and she said yes, of course. So I'm gonna leave her link down in my her Etsy shop link down in my description box if you guys want to check hers out. Maybe you don't have this truck, so I'll leave that down there for you. So right here I'm taking Still Gray by Waverly, and I form my back window and my mirrors. I keep referencing the front of the sign so I know like where I should put things. Then taking another brush, these are just makeup brushes, I'm creating my fenders. Now I'm doing this first because I want to be able to outline the fenders before applying black to the entire thing. That way you know, like, hey, these are fenders, not just some weird bumps on the side of the truck. So after outlining the windows and the side windows, I come back in with Still Gray, and you could see I'm just highlighting it just so you know that these are a different part of our truck. So after that, I'm going to paint the entire truck with black. And remember, this is inspiration. You can paint this bright blue with lemons. I mean, anything you want. And then going back in again, I'm highlighting around the windows, the hood, just giving it more definition and character. I'm also going to move down to the bottom. See, I'm like referencing because I was like, what are all these little grooves for? And this was for a bumper. Sorry, I don't know why my screen got like super bright right here, but it is what it is. So now I am just gonna create that bumper right here. And then after we're done with that, we're gonna move on to our lights. So I get my daubers, love these daubers, or no, I am gonna do the white first. And you guys, there's no rhyme or reason for what I'm doing. Like, I'm just adding what I think looks great. You do you, and you add as much or as little as you want to this. Now taking the daubers, I am adding some red brake lights, and then I'll put some orangey lights on top of that with my pumpkin by Waverly. I love these daubers. You're going to see me use them again later. And now we are going to get 8 Jenga blocks total, and actually 5 of these jumbo craft sticks from Walmart. I don't show the other 3, but we're gonna just stain these in Antique Wax by Waverly. After this, we're gonna go ahead and move on to putting together the bed of our truck. So you can paint these whatever color you want, of course. All right, so I recycled these. As you can see, there are 2 Jenga blocks glued together. And then I put them on the truck to see how far I wanted to cut these craft sticks. So I'm gonna cut both of these craft sticks down. Yeah, it would not cut. I had to go and get my craft blade out because those scissors did not want to cut for whatever reason. So now I'm going to glue the craft stick to the bottom of these Jenga blocks. As you can see, I hope I'm explaining this clearly, y'all. And I'm gonna take our next set, glue those to our craft stick, and now I'm going to stack these on top of each other. So on this bottom row, you should have 4 Jenga blocks on each side. This is going to be the bottom of the bed of our truck, okay? There you go, easy peasy. Now taking 4 more on each side, I'm going to double stack them up. That way the bed of our truck is going to come out a bit. That way you can put lemons inside of it. So get that. You could use wood glue, super glue, up to you. I chose to use hot glue for this. Easy peasy, right? All right, now we're going to attach that to our truck, and then taking the 3 other craft sticks that I cut down to size, we are going to stack those on the front to make our like kind of bed, our tailgate. So here you go, stack those on top. And I wanted to show you the crate because I know a lot of people would be like, why don't you just use the crate? But you can see it's substantially smaller than the one we built. And I thought if I would put that on, it just would have looked odd because the truck is so big. So after we're done with that, I'm going to get the sign that originally came on it. We're going to coat that twice with Rust-Oleum Linen White. And I am going to then draw some lines with my lead pencil, smear it, and then draw some random lines to make it look like wood grain. And I made this decal off my Cricut. You could also use stickers. You could use your own handwriting. And now Jessica made hers interchangeable. So I was like, you know what? I am going to use these Velcro pieces, stick them on the back. That way I could change up the sign as the seasons go by. So easy peasy. And now I'm going to put a grocery bag at the bottom. That way it has, you know, a little bit of height there. And I chose to decorate mine with Spanish moss, my lemons that were in the original Hobby Lobby bag, and a little bit of picks of the boxwood. And y'all, I really surprised myself. I don't know if y'all know, but I've never done one of these trucks on my channel. I have done the like already like cut out ones from Dollar General, but I've never put one together myself. So I was very proud of how this came out. Let me know what you think down below. All right, for this next one, I'm just taking an Easter sign. We're gonna rip all the stuff off of this side, paint the back with Rust-Oleum Linen White. Now, you need to put enough paint on there. So don't put too light of a coat, don't put too heavy of a coat, because we're gonna go in with this wood grain tool. So I'm gonna put this in my Amazon store link. It's, I think, like under $8, and there's quite a few pieces that come with it. And you essentially are just rocking it back and forth, back and forth. And let me tell you, you need some practice. I've already tried doing this for a DIY once and ended up throwing it in the trash because I thought it looked horrible. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it another go. So I'm tapping it on my mat so that I could get the excess paint out of the grooves there. Then I kind of dry it down and I'm like, no, I'm going to pass this through one more time just to see if I could get the look that I want. And let me tell you, it looks kind of funky from this image, but once you see it put all together, like holy wood grain, it looks amazing. Definitely need more practice with it though. So after that is all dry, I go to my computer, hashtag duh, and I just print these out. I just have a regular printer, and I am going to cut all of them out, and I'm going to use them as stencils. So I am just going to take my lead pencil. This would probably have worked better if I would have printed them on cardstock. It would have been a little thicker, but it works. It did the job. So I'm going to go ahead and trace these all out, the H, the M, and the E here. Easy peasy. All right, now taking my Arteza paint pens, I will leave the link for these down in the description box. I am outlining these, and the reason I outlined them first was so that I could kind of have like a paint inside the lines kind of thing going on. I would have my straight lines, I would be able to paint inside of them, and it would just make it so much easier on me to keep it neat and crisp. So now taking another makeup brush, this is actually an eyebrow brush, and I am going to paint the insides of the HME. How many times am I going to say HME in this? I don't know, but y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. I'm feeling it, okay? So after we're done painting all of these, I didn't say HME. I just did. Okay. So anyways, moving on. This is Rich Black by Folk Art. All right, so now that we're done with that, I'm just taking my sander and I'm sanding that down because the marker actually turned up brighter than the chalk paint, which, I mean, that was probably gonna happen, and it worked blending it all together. So now taking this round piece of tape, roll of tape, I just traced it out so we had a nice base for where the direction that our wreath was gonna go. So now taking boxwood from Walmart, I am just gonna put this all around. And let me tell you, the boxwood actually does very well with hot glue. It doesn't melt. It worked great. So I'm going to follow this around my circle. I'm not going to show you all that. It's kind of boring. Then I am going to just kind of fill in where I think it looks bare, or maybe you could see the hot glue. And after this, I am going to grab this bag of lemons. Got them at Hobby Lobby, $6, 50% off. And I love that they have a variety of sizes in there. So I'm going to take the smaller ones and I'm going to hot glue these. Now make sure when you're hot gluing them, you press down because you want them to attach to the greenery and the sign. That way when you lift your sign up, you don't have like the lemons kind of hanging at you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish those. Then taking this gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree, we are going to put that in as our hanger. I thought this looked so cute, and it turned out way better than I would have imagined. So I'm really happy with the outcome. And don't think I'm leaving the back like that. Do not. You guys know me a little better than that. So oh, look at that poor bunny. Yes, yes, girl, that needs to be covered. Like imagine picking that sign up and seeing that scary bunny on the back of it. No. So we go ahead and put it on our shipping paper, cut it out. Now we have a nice clean back. All that hard work, make sure to cover the back, you know, just make it look like it's store-bought. And look at this. Look at it. It's so stunning. That wood grain that pops through. Whew. Yes, I am feeling this. Let me know how you feel about the wood grain on this DIY project. Bye, y'all.
Who wants a new dog? Literally, who wants a new dog? He even ate paint. Oh my gosh. And then we got a sandwich container out here. The other parts of the sandwich container. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's so lucky. Mine's in a funk. Let it go. Let it go. Back. Yo, back.
Beginner friendly. No.
I'm not flustered. You're flustered. Working from home is amazing.
What are you doing?
You better not have drool on you, man. You need to get groomed so bad. You stink so bad. Can you tell everybody what you did today? Huh? That you were a bad boy? What'd you do? Yeah, you ate a bottle of paint. You took the dog dish out
You took the sandwich container out. You took a towel out there. I just don't know what goes through your head. There was not even food in there. I mean, why even take the paint? You know? Was that satisfying? Did you get anything out of it? No. No, you didn't. You got yourself some time in the kennel is what you got. Yeah. Pulling out the big babies. I used to wear these when I was a store manager and I would get all fancy for work. Do you guys remember Arden B and Wet Seal? Yup. And then I was like, you know what? Pull those babies out again. Pull them. Oh, crap. Didn't even take the back. Oh, yeah. Hey, girl. You guys, Chic on the Cheap. She does those Walmart hauls. Walmart, if you hear me. Nothing, babe. I was talking to myself. If you hear me, I love you. Please, please. Let me do some shop with you videos and stuff. Please. What, babe? Nothing, baby. I was yelling at myself. Okay. These Chic on the Cheap, tried them on and like they were bringing them out on the racks. And I bought the pink and the white because I didn't know if I was going to like them. And they were like, I think $12 each, which is expensive. But that's pricey for me. I go shop at the thrift store. And I shop at Walmart, of course. But I was like, oh, that's expensive to buy like all of the colors. It was like pink, like almost like a chiffon kind of color, not pure white, and then an army green and a black. So now I'm going to go back because this is so cute. I wonder what size I got. And I got a medium. And I'm like a size like 9 in pants, and usually I wear a large in a shirt. So today I am collabing with Lisa. Oh yeah, your teeth are looking whiter. No idea what I'm doing for these DIY limits. Woo! No. Oh, buddy, are you a mess?